In life, the most dangerous enemies are not the ones who shout at you, but the ones who smile while pulling the ground from beneath your feet. Today, I will teach you how to destroy anyone, without ever lifting a sword, without uttering a single threat, using the cold, calculating methods of Niccolo Machiavelli himself. This is not about violence. It's about ending your enemy's power by letting them destroy themselves. When most people think of destroying an enemy, their minds leap to direct confrontation. They imagine striking back with force, exposing them in public, humiliating them openly. But the wise, the truly dangerous, understand that this only fuels your enemy's power. Attack them directly, and you risk making them a victim in the eyes of others. You risk turning them into a rallying point for sympathy. Niccolo Machiavelli would never waste his effort in such a clumsy way. No, the true method is slower, colder, and infinitely more lethal. You do not go for the man, you go for the air he breathes. Your enemy's real power lies not in their voice, but in the chorus of voices that surround them. Friends, allies, admirers, followers, business partners, political supporters. These are the beams that hold up their throne. Remove the beams, and the throne will collapse under its own weight. You must begin here. And you must begin quietly. Speak no accusations, draw no sword. Instead, plant seeds, and let time do the cutting for you. A rumor is a subtle poison. You don't pour it down someone's throat. You let it slip into their water, invisible, tasteless, until it has done its work. It could be a question asked innocently at the right moment. It could be a piece of truth revealed without context. It could be nothing more than your silence in a conversation where others expect you to defend them. These are not weapons of the loud and the reckless. These are weapons of the patient and the calculating. Imagine a powerful man in your city. Everyone respects him. Everyone wants to be near him. Now imagine you never confront him, never speak a single hostile word, but you quietly ensure that one friend begins to doubt him, that one ally feels overlooked, that one supporter suspects betrayal. Each time you step back, letting human suspicion and ego take over. Over time, cracks appear in the marble, and soon the statue begins to crumble, not from the blows of an enemy, but from the rot within. Machiavelli understood that trust is the foundation of all influence, and that foundation is fragile. Once people begin to question someone's motives, once they suspect that their leader is not what they seem, the bond is already breaking. They may still smile, they may still stand beside them, but in their hearts the loyalty is gone. And without loyalty, your enemy's influence is nothing more than a hollow shell, ready to collapse at the slightest touch. The key is subtlety. You are not here to destroy their body. You are here to dissolve their connections. You must remain invisible, never giving them a reason to point the finger at you. Let others believe the decay is natural, inevitable, the result of your enemy's own flaws and failures. Every human being has weaknesses. Some are greedy, some are arrogant, some are careless with their words. You do not need to invent faults. You only need to guide others' attention to them. The moment an ally begins to doubt, they speak less in defense of your enemy. The moment a supporter begins to feel unappreciated, they begin to look elsewhere for a leader. One by one, those who once stood proudly at their side will step back until your enemy stands alone, surrounded only by shadows. And all the while, you will be nowhere to be found, because you were never in the fight to begin with. You were simply removing the air. Your enemy's greatest weapon is not their strength, nor their wealth, nor even their alliances. It is the image the world holds of them. As long as people believe they are competent, admirable, or untouchable, their power will endure. The mistake most make is to attack this image head on, shouting accusations, throwing insults, and challenging them openly. But this only draws more attention to them. You must never give them the drama they can feed on. Instead, you starve their image until it withers away in the minds of others. The public lives on perception, and perception is shaped not by truth alone, but by repetition, framing, and subtle influence. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He knew that destroying an enemy's reputation required patience and precision. You do not stand in the square screaming their faults. You allow their faults to be discovered naturally, or at least to appear as if they were discovered naturally. People trust what they think they uncovered on their own far more than what they are told by others. One of the most effective methods is to control what is spoken around them, without ever speaking it yourself. You can praise them in a way that draws attention to their weaknesses. You can ask harmless questions that lead others to wonder about their capabilities. You can make certain information appear in the right ears at the right time. Truths, half-truths, or carefully chosen omissions. A single well-placed doubt can spread faster than any open attack because it does not carry your name with it. You must also understand that neglect is just as powerful as rumor. Stop repeating their name. Stop feeding their presence in conversations. Remove them quietly from the center of attention, in politics, in business, in social life. The moment the crowd's eyes turn away, a person's influence begins to decay. Let them fade from the stage without ever shoving them off. People will forget faster than you think. Even more dangerous to them is exposure. Not exposure of grand crimes, but of small human flaws. No one expects perfection, but everyone notices hypocrisy. If they present themselves as virtuous, let small signs of corruption emerge. If they claim wisdom, let their mistakes be quietly magnified. Never accuse, never shout. Simply allow their contradictions to be seen, until their image is no longer one of strength, but of inconsistency. The beauty of this strategy is that you can work in the open while seeming entirely neutral. You can be the one who doesn't take sides while subtly ensuring that others see the cracks. And once cracks appear in an image, they never truly vanish. People will begin to reinterpret everything your enemy does through the lens of those doubts. A generous act becomes manipulation, a bold move becomes recklessness, a confident speech becomes arrogance. Perception shifts quietly, invisibly, until it no longer favors them. Starving their image requires patience. It requires restraint. But once their image collapses, they will discover that it was the only thing keeping their power alive. For power does not live in reality. It lives in the minds of those who believe. Every structure, no matter how grand, stands on pillars. Remove those pillars and the structure falls, not with an explosion, but with a quiet, inevitable collapse. Your enemy is no different. They do not stand alone. They stand because of the resources they possess and the opportunities they are given. These are the lifelines of their influence, the silent engines that keep them moving forward. And if you wish to destroy them without ever attacking directly, you must quietly cut off those lifelines one by one until they are left stranded in still water. A leader without supporters, a merchant without supplies, an orator without a stage, all are nothing. The trick is to remove these supports without ever appearing responsible. You must not block them openly, for that invites confrontation. Instead, you redirect, delay, and quietly deny. You close doors without making a sound. You slow their momentum until it stops entirely, and they do not even realize you are the one holding the brakes. Consider their resources. It may be money, it may be access to certain people, it may be information. These are not always taken. They are withheld. You simply ensure that the flow dries up. A sponsor loses interest. A partner becomes unavailable. A trusted contact stops returning calls. Each of these seems like coincidence, a normal turn of life, but together they drain your enemy's ability to act. Power without resources is nothing but a title. Then there are opportunities, the stages on which they perform, the openings where they can shine, the doors that lead to greater influence. You must position yourself where you can intercept these before they reach your enemy. Perhaps you take the opportunity yourself. Perhaps you pass it to someone else entirely. Or perhaps you simply ensure it never reaches them at all. An opportunity that never appears cannot be missed. It simply doesn't exist for them. Machiavelli knew that starvation is far more effective than confrontation. A starving enemy is too busy surviving to fight. They grow desperate, they make errors, they reach for whatever scraps they can find, often taking deals or actions that further weaken them. And all the while, you are untouched because you have not thrown a single stone. You have merely redirected the flow of what they need. The beauty of this method lies in its invisibility. Your enemy will not see you as the cause of their misfortune, because every loss will seem circumstantial. They will blame the economy, bad timing, betrayal by others, even their own mistakes. This keeps you free from suspicion, while ensuring their decline continues without interruption. And as each resource disappears, as each opportunity slips away, they will find themselves increasingly isolated, increasingly irrelevant. They may still hold their position, but it will be an empty one, without the means to do anything with it. They will have the title, but not the power. And without the means to act, even the most feared opponent becomes, there is no destruction more complete than the one a person brings upon themselves. When an enemy falls by your hand, they may find a way to rebuild. But when they collapse because of their own choices, their own pride, their own uncontrolled impulses, the world sees it not as an attack, but as justice. Machiavelli understood this truth better than anyone. The most elegant victory is not to strike your enemy down, but to guide them into the abyss and let them walk willingly. Every man has a weakness. For some it is greed, an endless hunger for more. For others it is pride, an unshakable belief that they cannot be wrong. Some are ruled by fear, others by vanity, others by the desperate need to be admired. Your task is not to destroy them directly, but to know the weaknesses so intimately that you can lead them, step by step, toward their own undoing. You do not need to push hard. A small nudge in the right place is enough to set their own weight against them. Perhaps you feed their ego until it blinds them. Let them believe they are untouchable. Encourage their overconfidence so they take risks they should avoid. If they are reckless, give them chances to act recklessly. If they are suspicious, give them small reasons to distrust their own allies. If they are ambitious, tempt them with opportunities they are not ready to handle. Each time, they will believe it was their idea. Each time, they will dig the hole deeper themselves. When a man acts out of his own flaw, no one rushes to save him. The crowd may whisper warnings, but they will not shield him from the consequences, and this is your advantage. You do not appear as the villain. You remain the silent observer, the bystander who never touched the blade, while your enemy bleeds from the wounds they inflicted upon themselves. This method is as slow as it is certain. It requires patience to watch them make their moves, to resist the urge to intervene too soon. You must allow them to feel in control, to think every decision is theirs alone. Even when you are the one shaping the path, they must believe they are the one walking it freely. The more they think they are acting with independence, the more blind they become to the trap that is closing around them. And when their collapse finally comes, it will not look like an assassination. It will look like a natural disaster. Their allies will say they saw the signs all along. Their supporters will call it inevitable. The public will believe it was fate or karma or the unavoidable result of who they truly were. No suspicion will point toward you, because in truth, you did not destroy them. You merely gave them the space, the temptation, and the opportunity to destroy. Power is not always seized with swords or won through open war. The most enduring victories are born in silence, crafted in shadows, and carried out with a patience that others mistake for inaction. To erode their influence, you begin by dismantling the web of trust that sustains them. To control perception, you quietly shape the way the world sees them. starving their image until it fades. To deprive them of resources and opportunities, you cut the veins that feed their strength, leaving them powerless without ever raising a hand. And to make them destroy themselves, you lead them to the edge and let their own flaws push them over. In Machiavelli's way, destruction is not a clash of swords. It is the slow pulling of strings until the puppet collapses without the puppeteer ever being seen. Those who master this art will never need to attack because their enemies will fall without a single blow.